Hey, welcome to the channel. Drip Network in the Animal Farm. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we host the Twitter Spaces live with some of the dopest, smartest, coolest people in our entire ecosystem. Let me introduce you to our speakers. Twitter Spaces is hosted by Drip to Wealth, aka Kryptonite. Our speakers for this past week include Rock Ape, Crypto Usher, Crypto Mark 7, Scott the Investor, Drip Strategy, Mo Crypto 777, Mike the Investor, Crypto Bag Trav, Susie S Drip, Crypto King 420, aka Crypto Connoisseur. I promise you, you want to listen in. We cover latest developments, insight, and those tough questions you guys want to ask. We cover them. Enjoy the Twitter Spaces. Let's go. My name is Kryptonite from Drip to Wealth, and every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we do a Twitter Space, and we cover the best two products in DeFi, Drip Network and the Animal Farm. And we go through latest updates, insights, strategies, and we talk about the macro and the micro with a handful of rock star speakers. So tonight we've got Mark, Crypto, Rock Ape, and a special guest. We've got Mike, the Investor. So at any point in time, you guys have a question, thought, go ahead, bottom left of the phone. It should say request to speak. Wave your hand, and I'll open it up for you as a speaker, and you can go ahead and make your comment. All right. So again, this is really for you guys. All right. So let's start with this one. Because here's what I've heard. Like, every vote counts. We've got a big day scheduled tomorrow. Is everybody pretty excited about the governance voting happening sometime tomorrow? Is that not bullish news? Oh, did I lose everybody? Let me make sure we're good here.
No, you coming in loud and clear, Kryptonite.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we're good. I thought I lost it because I had some bad reception. So, Mike, here's what I'm asking in that governance. So, for me, this is the first time that I've actually been involved in a DeFi project that actually had a governance and for you to vote on. So, Mike, here's what I'm asking in that governance. So, for me, this is the first time that I've actually been involved in a DeFi project that actually had a governance and for you to vote on proposals. Like, that for me is just unique in the space. Have you ever been involved in something like that before?
I have. There are a couple projects that I've invested in and still actually hold, some of the tokens. I'm not going to talk about them on here, but that
Okay.
have, governance as well. Now, me, just being honest, I've never been a really, really like big person like into governance, and I think it's extremely important for those people who want to have their voice heard, as in where they feel the project should go. I'm more one of those people that can sit in the background, and as long as everything is working the way it should, I'm good. I don't have to have my voice heard. You know what I mean? So it just kind of depends on, I think, of the investor and do they want to actually hear their voice heard. And then also, in a sense, I feel like because of the position I'm in, if there's a big enough idea that the community likes, they could just make the proposal and vote on it themselves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I totally agree. And it sounds like that's something they're considering based on the Medium article that they wrote. That's probably one of the initial steps is like get feedback from the community just to get a general sense of the sentiment. And then it moves on to like the next level. So I totally understand that regard too. Here's what's funny is that I know you do because I believe you started your channel investing in traditional finance, so probably stocks as an example.
correct. Yep.
And in most cases, when you own stocks, you actually also own a voting right. I wonder how many people have actually voted traditionally. And I don't know how many people are excited about voting traditionally compared to voting, later this week in DeFi. Like, I think that feels a little different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause
they
when I,
send you something in the mail for traditional, right? Like it's not, there's nothing enjoyable about it other than the fact that you now have an extra piece of recycling to put in. But that's it.
Rock 8, it is a big, thick chunk of mail. It really is. And
Yeah.
what I mean? It's a packet of information. And to Mike's point, some of us are like, it's not important for me to have my voice heard because I probably don't own enough shares to be impactful. So why even vote? And I think it's a little different maybe in DeFi because depending on how many,
Feels different. Feels different for
Your
me.
vote absolutely may feel different and actually make a difference, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when there is such a active community where like you can have it's already a grassroots movement and then add to the fact that it's so active on social medias that all it takes is like a little suggestion and that can get through wildfire, especially when you actually have platforms like this, like Twitter and YouTube, and you could actually talk about it prior to the vote. Because that's one of the things is, well, if you don't get to discuss it, then how do you actually see the problems, the benefits? Whereas with these platforms, you can start to think and talk out loud.
Yeah.
Right. And Rock, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I agree with it. I mean, it's a complete difference compared to traditional and DeFi. Because even if you voted as a stockholder when it came to traditional finance, it was still no guarantee that the company would do what was in the stockholders'
Mm-hmm.
favor, right? Whereas when we look at the animal farm, it's completely built for the investors. So rather you own pigs or not, you have the ability to own ownership. So it does make sense, you know what I mean, if you do want to have your voice heard, depending on how much you own or whichever.
Yeah, Mike. And here's the other thing too. It's completely transparent, right? The information is going to be on the blockchain. None of us are privy to the vote counts in a traditional sense. Like this is going to be visible for everyone before you vote because they're going to take a snapshot of the blockchain and a proposal before you actually vote to kind of see who's eligible to vote. And then the results come out again on the blockchain. So complete transparency. All right, so let's see what else we got going on here. So here's the other thing too.
This is kind of off topic, but like maybe 3 years ago, during one of our elections, and Canada was considering changing the way that we
Yeah,
elected officials, and we had like the lowest turnout in all of history.
right.
And I was like, one day there just has to be some type of governance ability to vote that would actually be impossible to hack. Little did we know that Forest Shark was coming around with a governance token could change the entire world's way of voting, and we're just at the
I
beginning.
love it, man. Like I get it absolutely feels different. So let me ask you this. Are we allowed to then share how we're going to be voting, or is that just too political? Get into that type of conversation. You know how it's like taboo for people to say how they're going to be voting? Is that a big deal?
Yeah, that's I think the idea is that I don't think everybody should, but I think the point is to have the
Yeah,
discussion, right? So maybe you don't say which way you clicked on the final part, but I think it's important to discuss which
I
way.
agree.
So when we actually see those things, we could go the plus and minus, the benefits, and the risks, the rewards, like all those different things. My biggest fear for putting all the voting into the people's hands is I think one of the DAOs got completely shut down because people were pissed about price action. That's the only thing that scares
Ooh,
me.
say that again. I want to make sure I understand that.
There was a DAO. I'm not sure if it was Time Wonderland or what, but it was like we're having some serious trouble, so we have a vote where we're willing to like distribute all of our funds back to the
Yeah.
holders rather than try and
Yep.
reinvest. That part scares me because too many people just want their cash because they're afraid.
Okay, understood. Understood. So in that example, do you think most people would likely vote for a weekly injection?
I'm down for biweekly. I think that can still gain some
Mm-hmm.
momentum. And so you're still building. Like once a month, you see those rewards go down too far by the
Mm-hmm.
end. So it's hard to advertise and get excited about something that's constantly going down a little bit
Mm-hmm.
versus something that's constantly going up a little
Got
bit.
it.
I think though, hey guys, sorry to chime in a bit late, but
Oh,
I'm glad to be here. Um, I think the one thing though that that's very transparent about Forex and the developer team is that they're not just going to go ahead and just give the power 100% back to the people and not have a say about what the proposal is. They're going to actually be vetting every single thing to make sure that it's in the benefit of the entire community and the entire ecosystem. So
mm-hmm.
it goes back to every single part of the. So it goes back to every single one of the posts where people of the community have been saying, don't suggest stuff might harm other parts of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Suggest proposals that is going to help us build drip, help us build pigs, dogs, and every single part of the animal farm, every single part of the drip ecosystem. So there might be some proposals where it's like, do you want to get the injection uh, to all the pig stakers, or do you want to get it whatever and like get some USD injected into the tax contract of the faucet? but I don't think they're gonna, take $200,000 and give it to everybody who's taking the animal farm. That would be too wide and too dangerous at the end of the day. So it's going to have a lot of vetting. So it's going to help us stay a bit consistent in the way that we're taking care of the ecosystem.
Yeah, and to
Yeah, you still have somebody at the end deciding or at least helping guide us. I think the only risk with that is if the community as a whole completely disagreed with that inner circle. That would be the only risk on that part. But much better. Like as Forex says, he doesn't believe in democracies.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing also that I discussed in my last video when I was talking about the governance system, because like I don't know if anybody read the article that was posted on the Medium, but because a lot of it has to do with
I'll let you read it.
because a lot of for example, votes are, well, actually all the votes are based on the number of pigs you have staked into the pig pen. Because a lot of people, they can't just go ahead and buy and sell all their pigs right after they vote. It's going to have to be people that care about the bigger idea of the ecosystem
totally.
and care about the whole community. Otherwise, they won't buy, let's say, 5,000 pigs to have a bigger share in the vote, because it just won't make sense. And if you have a smaller share, if you sell or whatever you claim every single day, your 2%, it's not going to have that big of an impact. So I'm thinking, I think, Rock, you mentioned a bit earlier, the people that have the big majority power, let's say, in the pig pen, have to have the idea of the entire community in their mind before they make any kind of vote.
Totally. And then to your point,
So what you're saying is we have to talk to crypto kings about anything we actually want.
Crypto Kings and Ray probably.
He's part of the gang, yeah.
And I think Brandon's up there too.
Oh yeah, Brandon's up there too. And Brandon probably, we know that, but he doesn't expose much of his wallets, if that makes sense, because he's probably have so many of them. But yeah, I would imagine he's up there too.
Hey, and it's pretty cool though, because I feel like there's so many people that are so anonymous. There's people that have probably like thousands and thousands and thousands of capital stake in the Bitcoin, but we don't know who they are, right? So we might have some pretty big whales and people that really care about the community. We just don't know about it.
I totally agree. And then back to your point too, Mo, in terms of making certain that the right proposals make sense. So clearly we've got a hierarchy in which, it kind of starts with the community and then it moves over to the team itself. And then there's probably like another layer, like a governing body that makes certain it aligns with the overall objectives of the ecosystem. Just in case things do slip through the cracks, which is highly unlikely, you're right, man. You've got skin in the game for at least 50 days, right? So if for some strange reason that we get a proposal that goes through and it doesn't meet those requirements, yeah, you're going to be subjected to the benefits or the risk associated with that bad or good decision. So I like the fact that it's tied to the pigs because you are vested for 50 days.
Do you think 50 days is enough to understand the ecosystem?
Not really, but it's better than none, where somebody can come in and create something and then dump on us within 24, 48 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that would create incredible volatility that's not in the benefit of the community at all. And I think that's also a big part of why right now the price of pigs and the price of dogs are very stable, because they're being controlled quite well. So over the long term, it's much more positive than negative.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I like that aspect of it too. So let's do this. So let me ask you this, and let's go ahead and make sure that there's one other person that just popped in and asked to speak. Okay, so they just went away, so that's fine. We'll be fine there. Okay, let me ask you this, guys. So Drip Garden, let's jump on that one really quick. Did we notice a nice little increase in the contract?
Yeah, even an increase from the time I watched Mo's video to time I checked my own garden. It was a nice little bump, $2.99. I just saw.
Do you understand why that happened? I think we do, right? But
it's
there's I think that's a singular entity. Just but people want that. Like you were talking about anonymous whales, and honestly, like even though we can see it on the blockchain, it's a totally different thing when you get to see somebody like Ray go and buy an outrageous size farm, and he's like, "I'm going to be number one." How many other whales could be number one and knock him off the block tomorrow?
Right. That's a great question because, again, to Mo's point, we don't know who's in the ecosystem and how big their positions are. Because they're anonymous, they're fine, just kind of making their passive income and enjoying their life without the ridicule and being in front of people and subjected to criticism and stuff like that. Who knows, man? But to me, like the one thing that I noticed is, as an influencer, you actually have influence, right? And people need to be careful and mindful of their position because people are listening. So that's the first thing that I realized. And then the second thing I realized is that, man, there still is money on the sidelines. And if people understand the end goal and that there's a financial benefit on the other side of that, that they're willing to invest incremental risk capital. So for me, that was kind of optimistic to say, man, there still is money on the sidelines and people are just waiting for the right time and the right news to really get back engaged. So I kind of like that aspect of it, but it was just funny to see that someone with enough influence can really drive people's decision. Some people can say, that's maybe a little bit too much power, but I think if it's wielded the right way, it's good for the ecosystem. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about that?
I think it's power that's earned through time in the system,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not going to follow somebody that's like, "Hey, this is my first day. Don't know anything about this." But those that have been either cheerleading or been covering something for a long period of time, you start to trust that aspect of it, and especially if they're not nothing but bullish, nothing but balloons in the sky, right? Like you want to hear the undivided
I
truth.
totally agree. And we all know that Ray's a drip maxi, right? So his heart and mind is in the right place. At least that's how we perceive him.
Yeah, but he's never been a garden maxi. Like he's talked about it
Yeah.
occasionally, but it's always like, "Oh, this is a play one day. This is a play one day."
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very risky play. Like getting 3% per day is very beautiful on paper, but when you got plan decay, the plan decay, and then you have the drip decay at the same time, it just creates an average of like 4% decay a day, and then you're getting 3% a day. So unless you're DCAing into the garden frequently and then compounding frequently throughout the day as well, it's going to be hard to make up a good position. So it's more of a I'm going to invest now and hopefully this pays me in the future kind of
Yeah.
minor. And the way I think about it is as long as it's been working flawlessly from the launch till now, nobody has been able to exploit it. It's been paying out, paying out in like brackets. But as long as I know the mechanics behind it are working well, I'm not too worried because I'm thinking of the price of drip. And if you believe in the price of drip going back up, then this is just going to be a very good play in the long run. It's for me personally because I'm not entirely. Well, I am kind of risk averse, but not entirely. Like I'm in between
Yeah,
kind of
because
thing.
you're in DeFi.
So like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in
you
DeFi,
can't be
so that's like
completely
I
without.
technically
Right,
can't
right,
be
right.
that bad. But it wouldn't be something that I would invest in like on day one.
Understood.
I would kind of like mitigate my
Hmm.
risk. But when you see some momentum like what Ray
Yeah.
did a couple of days ago, then you'll see people's eyes are going to be on the miners, or they're going to see that something is happening with the drip garden, and they want to be a part of it. So just like you said, Kryptonite, they're going to have their money on the sidelines, and they're seeing that pump. They want to be part of it. They're going to deposit some money in there to see what
Yeah.
happens.
FOMO is a real
And if
thing. Yeah.
See,
yeah,
maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's just Susie and I that have been like, the garden is the golden ticket. But like I literally started a second wallet where I was like, you know what? Instead of starting with a faucet, I was like, let me do an experiment with the
Yeah,
garden
man.
and see because the LPs were actually not decreasing as fast as
Yeah.
drip was. So every time I was able to pull an LP, it was actually like two and something drip no matter what. It was like drip was like $5 or $6 and the LP was 10.50. So it was actually a phenomenal way to start boosting my faucet. And unfortunately, yeah, we just kept going down. But even now, I think an LP is $4
$4.
or
Yeah, it
something.
is.
And at this point, as long as you play the game right, it's just the fact that it is a game. It has to be taken like seriously. You have to actually play it properly. You can't just willy nilly sell every single day and hope for the best. Like I see comments all the time, like, "Oh, my garden's dead." Okay, well, did you just pull for a month and not put anything back in? Did you try and hydrate, like hyperhydrate or compound? Like, what was the strategy behind you to find a dead garden? Because both of my gardens are around 10 million, and they've been pulling. I don't know. I pulled probably 70 LPs, and they're still producing five a day
Oh,
each.
see, and you pull 70 LPs. Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts with the garden. I think that's how maybe some people can maybe get lost in the sauce because it is not straightforward. at least not the way that you interpreted initially, which is the 3% daily ROI, and then you realize you're kind of battling decay, the contract balance, and then drip, and then the community action is like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for all of that stuff. So it's not until you, you know what I mean? So it's not until you wrap your head around all that stuff do you realize, like, okay, this is a game worth playing. I just got to understand what to do and when. So, for example, when the decay is plus 3%, your best strategy, if you're still willing to play the game, is to hyper compound and consider DCAN. And then if you think about what's taken place over the last 24 to 48 hours with this mini pump in the garden, decay is down between 1 and 2%. So that's when, in theory, you should be kind of pulling your LPs out as a exit strategy and considering liquidating or reinvesting into the farm. So again, we keep using gamification. So you've got to understand the rules of the game. And once you understand the rules of the game, then it leads you to a path of success. I think all of these games end with some level of success. It's just, how do you navigate? I firmly believe that.
I think you could get yourself wrecked on the
Yeah.
garden. I think that and the piggy bank are probably the only two plays right now that you could totally get wrecked within
Yeah.
a month and be like, what happened? But the others there's a lot of safety protocols in
Yeah.
between. But those two plays are the highest risk, and it's the reason they're high risk. I don't think anybody's explained this. Is you're the risk. Like if you don't function perfectly, like today, as you said, like you're supposed to pull LPs when the contract
Yes.
goes up. And I was like, yeah, I'm going for it. But I know I can't ever pull more than one LP at
Yeah.
a time. Typically, I like to pull like 0.8 so that it's not doing too much
Yeah.
damage. But I had two and a half LPs in the garden, so I had to compound. I didn't have a
Gotcha.
choice. I know that I would wreck myself if I pulled
I
that
got
many.
you. No, that makes sense. I got you. Let me ask this. Mike, are you still there? I want to make sure you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Perfect.
Still
Hey,
here.
Mike, let me ask you two follow-up questions. So are you in the garden at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the garden.
What's your initial thoughts on the garden? Do you have a point of view that you want to share with the folks on the garden? Because
I mean, I think I agree with everything you guys said. It's definitely a game, and we also got to remember it's a minor.
yeah,
So it's not the faucet. It's not a ROI DAP. It's not a certificate of deposit. It's literally a minor. And so kind of like when you understand that you have your plant decay, of course, which keeps the buying power the same throughout the life of the contract. So when new investors get in, they have that same buying power as new
yep,
people. I mean, as the
mm-hmm,
older people. But when you have the drip price going down, that affects it. And then when you have the LPs being pulled out to be put into the animal farm, that affects it. So those are three things that you have. So the 3x leverage that the garden gives is a double-edged sword. So for me, what I was doing was just only compounding and only compounding. And with that being said, I still have seen, a decay in the
yeah,
value and, the total output of the LPs, right? So in a sense, if you're not DCAing, like on an average of a weekly basis or so, when you have all three things against you, I don't think you can really keep up with the decay unless you're DCAing and compounding at the proper
mm-hmm.
time.
I agree. I agree. So let me ask you.
I do agree with that. You know what I'm excited about, and I hope, and maybe we can get them on one day, is the developers for the Drip Garden game. Because imagine that decay was visualized, so it'd be easier for people to wrap their head around that part of the
Yeah,
gamification. It might make a lot more sense for the average
mm-hmm,
user, where they're like, "Oh, why is my whole farm dying?" It's like, "Oh, okay, well now I understand because I have this visual for it."
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and I mean, just three key metrics to look at for anyone that don't know. If you look at the drip price, if it's going down, that affects it. If you just look at the normal plant decay, which you can take a look at drip.formulate, Farmer's House, there's so many different tools that the community people have created. You can look at that as well, and it'll tell you the normal plant decay as
mm-hmm.
well. And then also you can look at the drip garden balance and see has the LPs went down from the last time I looked at it. That as well will tell you just by a glance. And so those three key metrics will tell you kind of where the position you will be in.
Totally. So I'm a huge fan of the drip garden, and I say it on every call because I want people to keep this in mind. With all of the variables we just mentioned, I keep going back to the one that has not gone to zero, and all of the others continue to think that it is. That's drip, right? So drip is kind of trading sideways, and it has been for quite some time now. If you continue to believe in the drip token itself, then the garden has to have a place within the ecosystem. It just has to. And Ray said it himself maybe a couple of days ago when he did the Drip Garden video. He essentially said that the garden probably has the best earning potential out of all of the products within the ecosystem. And again, that's somebody who just invested $1 billion worth of plants into the garden. So I got to remind people, kind of follow the money and then follow the smart money, because he's been in the ecosystem for nearly 2 years now. So follow the money. All right. So Mike, let me ask you another question. So this one gets back to like the power of an influencer. Have you been in a situation very similar to Ray in his most recent video with the Drip Garden, where he made favorable comments about a particular product and you saw this momentum shift like right away? Has that happened to you ever?
Yes, but I always like to be careful,
Yeah.
right? Because of the power of
Yeah.
influence. And so as much as people hear, hey, do your own research, but honestly, it's so cliche, but like I will always say, when your emotions is high, try to take a step back and think about what you're doing before you make any decision,
hmm
right? Because it's okay to be excited. That's not the issue. It's just when we let the emotion control our investing decision based off of what an influencer said, or even this Twitter space, for example, could have someone pumped up about drip and they immediately go buy into drip and they haven't really, educated themselves on
Yeah,
it, right? And so that's where things can be kind of tricky, especially when it comes to crypto just within
totally.
itself.
So that's when I say, to your point, your money, your move. So you have to do your own research. It's one thing to kind of listen to an influencer to gain some insight and factor things in that you should be considering before you make your final decision. But at the end of the day, you really own that. And that's why it's a really great responsibility for influencers to be as objective as they can, especially when they have a following. That's why I tend to like people to be extremely transparent, especially when it comes to investing my money. Like, I don't need the doom and gloom, and I don't need someone to be bullish all the time. I just need the truth. That's where I land with it, and I'll allow myself to kind of follow my own emotional sentiment once I understand what's really going on. So I appreciate that. So then let's do this. So with the garden, I was trying to get Susie on because I know she has a massive garden, and I wanted to get her feedback on how she felt about.
Probably pissed you just got knocked off number one.
Okay, who else? All right, who's we got here? All right. Crypto Casino, is it Casinair? Oh man, I know I'm beating that up. Can you hear me?
Crypto kind of
Yeah,
stream.
how did I smash that up? Ooh. Crypto
Not a problem. Not a
connoisseur.
problem.
How you doing, my friend?
Doing awesome. Hey, by the way, I watch all your videos. I watch Mike's. I watch Mo Cryptos. All your guys' stuff.
Thank you, man. Thank you so
You're the
much.
man. I appreciate you, brother.
I drive around to meetings all day long, and in between, I listen to your YouTube channels. So, anyway, I wanted to ask you all some questions here, and let me know. Let me tell you where I sit
Mm-hmm.
at. So, for my garden, I currently have 40 million plants
Only
in the
40
garden.
million?
Well, yeah, but I've spent, so here's the thing: I've spent 12K
Gotcha.
on the
Okay, so you
garden
got in
to
pretty
get
early
there.
then.
But it's worth,
Okay.
yeah, but it's worth 1,500 right now. I just got to say, I'm not concerned about it. I think it's going to go back because I think drip's going to go
Yeah.
back. And the same with drip. I've got 11,300 drip in my faucet. I've got a second account with 1,500 in it, another one with 100 in it. But that's it, and it's 16K.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 25 grand to get to that position on
Okay.
that. I think it's going to go up to at least $10, $15, so I'm not too worried
Yeah.
about that. But in the animal farm, I've got about $15,000 that I've invested in the animal farm across dog tokens, pig tokens I bought back when it was $50. So the opinion I want, what would be the reason to stop me from selling the 50 some pigs that I have? I think I got 52 pigs over the next 30 days, taking that money and dropping that into drip, which would get me almost to a maxed out account within a month. Then I could start a second wallet where I move 5 grand or 5,000 drip over in 18 days on that maxed account. And I could have that one maxed out in 8 months by the time my first one stops paying out. So for me right now, even at $1.50 drip, I'm seeing a better incentive to pull pigs out, move it over to the faucet, earn the gains even at $1.50, and I'm going to make about 4x of the amount of money that I'm making in the animal farm. Can I get any other opinions as to why maybe I shouldn't do that? Because I'm kind of feeling like I should move everything there.
No, that's a great point. So I'll let Mo, Mike, and Rock jump in on that one, and then I'll have a point of view as well. Yeah. Susie, welcome.
All right. So
How you doing, Susie?
Hey, Susie. Welcome to the spaces. Okay, so I have an opinion, but I mean, you guys feel free to jump in whenever you'd like. So I think that the animal farm, because I can clearly see that you've well diversed your money and all the ecosystem, which is pretty good. I think the animal farm is more of a long-term safe play. I have almost like 99% no doubt that drip is going, like the faucet isn't going anywhere. But I feel like if you take out all of your money and put it into one website, like it's not the best thing to do, especially that you're at 11,000. So you're probably maxing out in what, like 150 days, 150 days, or like less than that.
97 days I'll be maxed out.
97 days. So like that's 3 months before you max out this wallet. The potential in the injections going into the pig pen, I feel like that's going to be very, very good in the next few weeks. So like I'm not sure like how many pigs you have right now. I don't know exactly if you said you have an amount depending on dogs and pigs, but what do you have in the pig pen right
50.
Now? Yeah, so I got it pulled up here. I've got 50 pigs in the pig pen. I've got a total of 58 dogs spread out, mostly in the auto compounding pool and a little bit in the linear pool earning me BNB. And then I've got like, I don't know, $5,000 worth of stuff across Cake BUSD, Cake BNB, things like that as well. And then just Cake.
Okay. And the pig pen is generating how much in BUSD per day? Do you know?
Like oh yeah, I keep super close track of everything.
Amazing. Yeah, that's super good.
So right now with 15 grand invested, Pigpen pays me out $1 in pigs a day, $6 in BUSD a day. My drip BUSD pays out $1. I'm making $10 a day on Cake WBNB, $2 on Cake BUSD, and $5 on Cake staked in the pool. Okay. So total, I make about $25 to $27 a day off of the farm, and that's kind of where I was going. As if I took that money out and I put it into the faucet, I could turn that into $50 a day, max out my account, start another one, and then I'll be earning $100 a day. So I just trying to see, objective opinions as to why I wouldn't do that now.
Yeah,
I have an argument for why.
Rock Ape, say that again. You're coming in and out. Did we lose him? Yeah,
we probably lost him. Like I feel like, as I said earlier, I see like the pig pen is a long-term play. So you're probably not going to get the kind of return you would on the drip faucet. I just don't know. Like my gut feeling tells me that in the beginning of 2023, the price of drip is going to go back up, especially if we release the layer 2 of the faucet and the reservoir, if that's included together. And with the on and off ramp, it's probably going to impact the price of drip quite well. It's just I don't know if the community sentiment is going to be as bullish for a long period of time for you to kind of make up some kind of return, short period of time to cover what you just took out of the pig pen and then deposited that into the wallet. Even though you're going to be, you're going to max out one wallet, let's say, and then you're going to claim on a consistent basis until that wallet maxes out. And then you're going to try to max out a second wallet. I don't know how quickly you're going to be able to ROI on whatever pigs you were able to withdraw from the pig pen. So it's kind of a, because like in my personal opinion, if you have money in multiple places, I wouldn't move it, last minute like that just before we release the layer 2 of drip, because I don't know what the community is going to do when we release that. It might be a complete flop or it might be bullish. It's really tough to call right now, but that's just what I think. I'm not sure.
And so I saw the writing on the wall because I was part of the Mad Farm when it first came out, and now I'm part of the Animal Farm.
Yeah.
And I mean, true transparency, guys, I've lost $186,000 this year in the bear market. So I mean, I've been rug pulled and all kinds of shit, losing a ridiculous
amount. Was that in crypto,
so,
or was that in the total market?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's just crypto. Stock market was close to another $250,000. So but no, so right now, my thought on the on the pigs is I bought my pigs when it hit 46 bucks. So,
Okay.
I'm at a 3x, and everything I pull out is at a 3x.
Okay.
I've earned $900 in BUSD since it launched. So I've got another, that puts me at a 3.5x. So I'm making profit on it if I pull it out, but I don't know. I'm just struggling back and forth because I love Drip. And my thing is I don't think that Forex will ever let Drip die because that is his baby, just like BR34 week was.
No, so crypto Casanova, I was thinking the same thing too. I'm gonna let Mike pop in. Mike, are you still there? See if he's still there. Mike, you still there? Okay, maybe he stepped away. All right.
Hey, connoisseur, are all the pigs that you have in the pig pen, are you able to pull all of it out right now, or are you still limited at the 2% per day?
No, I'm limited at the 2% because I kept putting, compounded pigs in from my other pools. I've got like 5 sitting ready right now, but I could pull them all out over the next couple of days. I tell you, I was almost thinking about just pulling out 10 more, letting it sit in there, taking the 10. That's going to net me $1,300 off it right now. Put that into the faucet, sit there at 13,000, and be done with the faucet, my first account, in about 71 days. So,
what is it going to take you to max out that wallet right
now? I'm at 11. Hold on, I just wrote it down. Just recompounded 64, so I'm at 11,358, which puts me at 97 days. If I put $1,300 into that right now, that's going to get me after taxes 800 more. So I'll be at 1,160-ish. That'll put me at 75-ish days to be a maxed out account.
Okay.
Now let me ask you this, crypto connoisseur. So is your goal to cash flow or just maximize profit long term?
Right now, I'm looking at cash flow at the moment. Because I'll tell you right now, I own a company. My company's lost because of this shit economy. My company's lost 80% of its business, and I own one of the largest ones in my state. And it's just been fucking crazy. So I'm sorry, pardon my language.
We're all adults.
Yeah, well, but it's just been crazy. And the thing is the Fed is having their FOMH meeting here on the 15th, and usually when they have that meeting, they start their pivot. And when they start their pivot, typically, you're going to see a 30 to 90% correction in the market with a loss. That's what happened in 2008. So the problem with that is the savings amount right now, the personal savings amount in the United States is only at 3.2%. And the credit rate right now is 1,680%. It's the largest spread between the credit, debt, and the savings account that's ever been in history. So, that's like depression kind of stuff. It's not like recession. It's like depression. So I'm a little concerned, and I kind of want cash flow.
That's what I was kind of thinking of. And I'm going to let Rock 8 jump in because I wanted to have you answer that question before I had a point of view. Rock, you still there?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep getting kicked out. Something hits me.
No worries, my friend.
But anyways, I was thinking that it's all about timing, right? And I do think sentiment and cash flow into Drip is going to change, but it's going to take a few wins, right? I think it's going to take the scratchies. It's going to take faucet layer 2. And if it was me personally, I would prefer to time it, my max wallet, or even starting the second wallet around all those additional benefits. And that's a bit of a gamble. But the nice part is while you're waiting on that gamble, you're getting paid in USD. And personally, I truly believe if you gave somebody $75,000 today, they're not going to retire. But if you gave them enough cash flow that it can continuously be around $75,000 a year, they might actually quit and retire. So I'm all about cash flow personally. And I think that the pig pen is that golden ticket to steady cash flow. Especially, let's find out after the vote. But I truly think that you're going to be able to consistently understand and know what you're going to make day by day, month by month.
I like that. I appreciate that because I was thinking of cash flow in a different direction. So I appreciate that opinion.
Because you were thinking about cash flow out of the faucet. You'll be able to claim, or were you just going to continue just to reinvest the 50 pigs that you sold lump sum into one particular wallet, max out as fast?
You guys hear me at all?
Yeah, we can, Mike. Max out a wallet. And then were you planning to get to a max wallet as soon as possible, or purchase the drip and start claiming daily for cash flow?
So I think what my plan was is I wanted to, it's kind of a couple different folds. I wanted to get my max wallet as soon as possible because of the possible cash flow problems with the company. Just because my company doesn't have, typically my company was making $20,000 to $25,000 a month, and it's down to $6,000.
Oh, okay.
Well, the bills, so the bills for the company are still $4,900 or more a month. I had to actually shut down some of the advertisement to save $1,500 a month on it. So I mean, I'm still getting some business, but not enough to, it scares the shit out of you as a small business owner.
And you've got small business owners on the line.
I know that
because I'm a small business owner as well, so I understand the pain. Yeah.
So what I was thinking is a couple of fold. One, get the drip faucet to a max account so that number one, I have options. My options can be to claim as much as I need to pay bills, but on the times that I do have business and they're paying the bills, I could take that, hold it, put it into another wallet, start another wallet, so that by the time I get a maxed out, or my maxed out account cashes out at 100,000, then it takes about 8 months. If I put 5,000 drip into another account, it'll take roughly 8 months for that to become a maxed account. So I'll constantly have a maxed account at that point and have the option for cash flow if needed. If not, I can use it to get BUSD, put it into the farm, and make that money. But I'm just, after all these years of struggling and having a small business and building it up to where it is from nothing, it's just really freaking frustrating to have this point where you go from making 400,000 a year to making 60.
And it's pretty scary. And I'm gonna do this too because Mike is back now. I want to get his point of view, and then Evan, I see you waving your hand. Mike, can you hear me now? Did I lose him again? Yep. Okay. Evan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Evan, did you have a point of view?
Yeah, actually, I've done a lot of, I've been in the drip faucet since February or so. I'm maxing out around May, and I thought about the same thing. I've got about, between the dogs and the farms, I've probably got 10 or 11,000 in that, and I've thought about, doing the same thing. But I think timing the market for drip will be better off if I wait, because here's my game plan. I know a lot of people might think this way also, so it's probably just not me. If you max out, so you hit your 27,300, then you, when you start claiming, what my plan is every Monday, because it's the suckiest day of the week, so I might as well make it even suckier. Claim that drip, send that drip to a new wallet. Within 20 weeks, you will have enough drip in that wallet that if you hydrate it every day, by the time you're done your first wallet, your second wallet will be maxed out, ready to go. So you literally will be able to claim 6 days a week and send one day's worth over to a new wallet, and you literally will be able to claim 6 days a week for the rest of the eternity of the project. So that's my plan.
I like that. That sounds good. Yeah.
So, and it's just it's a positive thing if you max out a wallet. And you, regardless what the price is, you can sit there and you can claim your 6 days and send one to a new wallet. So that's just my thought. I've been in the garden also for a long time. That thing's kind of ripped me to shreds.
Most people.
So, yep. So
I've got 40 million plants, and it's torn me another orifice.
I hit 13. I hit 13
swear
million.
The key to the garden is multiple gardens. Like, I know that sounds a little crazy, but it allows you to hyper compound one garden at a time, no matter what, and then still get an ROI. And then it also makes sense for more DCAing into it. It can be played right. I guess maybe I'm not looking at like what my overall garden's worth is. I'm looking at how long is it going to take me to produce the LPs that I can put in my farm and earn dogs, which is going to earn me pigs, which is going to earn me BUSD. I have a really long form view on the garden. I think it's the entry point.
Got it. I love it.
Well, that's why I compounded, and I'm sitting at 40 million plants. I compound every day, man, because I know that in a couple of months I'm going to have 100 million plants, and if the price of drip goes up to $3, then I'm going to I can make bank on that. Just by the price of drip doubling. So
absolutely.
And where you're at right now, it just doesn't make sense to claim, because you're already down from I don't know how many thousand up to 1,500 to it just makes more sense. Yeah, so it just makes more sense, in my opinion, to keep compounding, because as soon as we get the products launching more frequently in 2023, I think there is going to have some positive impact on the overall garden contract, total value locked, as well as the price of drip. So at the end of the day, it's all going to hopefully go up from here, you know?
I love it.
And
I actually think at first I was a little bit, I don't know, upset or something, but the idea that the garden was going to the faucet page. But I think that's going to be
I
good for
agree.
it because the bad part about the faucet or the drip community page is it's 2 pages and then you leave.
Hmm.
So if we're able to get people to spend more and more time on that, just like the animal farm, it takes me like 20 minutes just to go check all the APRs.
Nope, I'm with you. I think it'd be good because they're tied together like shoelaces, right? You got to create the BUSD drip LP to be in the garden. So the fact that they may potentially end up being on the same landing page bodes well for that ecosystem. All right, in my opinion.
is Mike the investor
Let me
back
see.
yet? Are you there, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've been here. It's been going in and
Okay.
out.
Hey, you go ahead then, because I know you've
So
been
Mike,
waiting.
do you recall the question? I just want to make sure you heard that part.
Oh man.
Can I give you the summary? Or crypto
I mean,
connoisseur?
really, man,
Yeah.
I don't have nothing negative to say about what anyone said. I mean, regarding his cash flow situation, I completely
Yeah.
understand. I would say I do like the idea he came up with himself regarding keeping at least 40 pigs in the pig pen, and then that would allow him to reach his max out wallet in about 71 days, give or take. I like that ability because it just doesn't put you slowly in the drip faucet. And so, with that being said, I like the ability to still keep other assets in the animal farm because one thing to still keep in mind, I mean, they work together, but they are still two separate projects. So I get it, with business income going down and things of that nature. But if you could still leave some in there, of course, not financial advice, just an opinion. I think that idea, will work better because even still, once you hit that max wallet, there's going to be times, just because I can tell you're highly invested in the ecosystem, there's going to be times you're going to be like, man, I don't want to sell at this price. You know what I mean? So why not wait a couple more months and get a max wallet to give the ecosystem more time to get that development and utility out? But that's kind of the last thing I got to say. I'm approaching the gym at the moment. I'm getting ready to get that workout in. So I appreciate Crypto Night having me on, and appreciate everybody tuning in.
Excellent. Thanks, Mike, man.
Always like
Appreciate
chatting
your
with
time.
you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Mike. Have a good one. Hey, that was actually a very good point. And what Mike just said is very, very important because instead of maxing out your wallet right away, you're actually bringing that max out date closer to you and closer to the time where we're going to be launching Scratchies and Drip Layer 2, Reservoir Layer 2, right? Which means that you're getting closer to the time frame where more eyes are, and the on and off ramp also. So you're getting closer to the time frame where a lot of eyes are going to be on Drip, the faucet, the garden, the animal farm. At that point, it's going to be much more beneficial for you to be claiming your drip, like 200 or so drip per day, because the value of it, if you transfer it to BUSD, is going to be worth much more than if you claim it right now at $1.50. So it's not maxing out right away, but it's not maxing out in 100 days. You're kind of doing it in between, which is a
Yeah,
pretty good
balanced
idea.
approach.
While at the same time, yeah, exactly balanced. While at the same time getting some BUSD in the animal farm and the pig pen. So I think really a lot of it is going to depend on what's going to happen tomorrow. And if everything launches successfully in the governance system and we kind of understand what kind of injections we're going to be facing, the BUSD injections, it's going to give us a pretty good idea of the next few weeks, So it would be cool if you would come on next Tuesday and we can this approach, like we can see what changed from now to tomorrow all the way to
I
next week.
agree. And crypto connoisseur, let me ask you
Oh
this:
yeah, I'd love
Is
some
this
of that.
helpful? Like, does it help you kind of narrow in on a decision, or does it just give you more to consider before you pull the trigger?
No, and that's why I gave you guys all the variables and let you know kind of where I was sitting, because I wanted the people to agree with me, and then I really wanted the people to disagree with me. I take negative criticism better than I take positive, because if you're just stroking me over, being like, "Oh yeah, you've got a great idea, way to go," okay, well, great, but I mean, I'd rather have somebody say, "Well, I think that you're flawed here," so that I can learn from that, because that's how I've become a big investor, is by, I mean, like I said, I lost close to $200,000 this year. I'm a better investor because of it. And because I lost 200K, I'm putting all the money I can into the markets right now when it's a bear market. And I'm hopefully going to 10X that because I've learned my
Makes
lessons.
sense.
And if you guys, I've done the mathematics on the drip faucets. If you guys want an idea, I don't know if this will help you out or not. When you get a maxed account, you get a maxed faucet. What you need to do is immediately make 2 other accounts. You have number 2 and number 3. You start saving your drip for 8. If you save your maxed account drip for 18 days. That's going to give you about 5,000 drip. You take your wallet 2 and use it as a buddy address under wallet 3. And it doesn't matter what you do with wallet 3, put it wherever you want, put it under your friend, put it under one of these YouTubers.
Yeah.
But what you'll do is you'll do a transfer of 5,000 from your maxed out to your second wallet. And because your second wallet is under your third wallet, that tax percentage, which is between 400 to 500, will actually go into your third wallet, so you won't have that loss. That'll put that into that wallet. And by the time your second wallet maxes out, because the 400 wallet was in there, after you've gotten that, you'll actually have 3 maxed out wallets in a row where you'll never have a day where you can't claim from a maxed wallet. And you can just continue that till the end of time if you really wanted to, if you kept following that plan. But just as a heads up, if you guys need any, I've done the mathematics on that. That's the way to work.
Yeah, and because
That's a great idea.
that's
Yeah,
impressive.
that's right.
Hey, who gave you that idea? Like, I think it's very well
That is impressive.
thought out.
Yeah.
It's a very good idea.
I just did that. I've been trying to plan that out ever since I got in the drip faucet in January of this year, January 26th. I spent $4,800 when the price was $170 or something like that. So yeah, and then I've been compounding and DCAing, and now I'm 25,000 deep into it. But I've been doing the mathematics. I've been looking at how much the taxes are, transfer fees, the best way to do it. This back and forth, and I just came up with this plan that, use that 2 and 3, put number 2 under number 3. Don't put anything back under your first wallet because you're just going to lose it. That way, that 10%, which is 450 tokens, is going to go into your third wallet. And you can just sit there and recompound and claim every single day. And you're going to have maxed accounts for the rest of your life, or the rest of the life of the project anyway. So you'll always have that option. But getting to that first maxed account is the tough one. That's been the long road, especially DeFi's never seen a bear market before. This is the first bear market that DeFi went in. So people don't realize that this is the worst freaking year to possibly start in DeFi. And it's the worst bear market we've ever seen. So, if people can hold out right now, man, it's not going to matter what happens in the future.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't think people have perspective, because I'm going to be real honest with you. This is my very first bear market in DeFi, to your point. So for a lot of people, if it is your first, it probably feels horrible. And to other people that have been in and out of the space, this is normal. So it's really tough for you to kind of wrap your head around that perspective. Right. And once you finally grasp hold of that concept, then you see that there's an opportunity. Because in my experience, when I look at a lot of the major influencers within the drip ecosystem and how they've become extremely successful, they have been patient during this time. They've been learning, they've been strategizing, and they've been accumulating. So now when you fast forward 12, 24 months, you look at these guys and they've got maxed out accounts, multiple maxed out accounts, and they've got all of this information to share. Well, it's just par for the course. Everyone's got to go through the process. And this is our very first bear market. And here's the good news. If this is the worst, then it's downhill from here, right? Then it's absolutely downhill from here. So I'm excited. I'm glad you said that. Here's what
Still
I'm
making
saying.
money on the bear market.
I got to try.
Well, here's an unpopular opinion. I know that if you're in the crypto market, that people are like, I don't want anything to do with SBDCs, which, by the way, is a digital currency that a lot of governments are trying to come up with. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of governments right now that are going to start coming up, like the UK with an SBDC. The thing that I see about that, I don't like that because it's a government-controlled currency, but that is going to bring a hell of a lot of regulation, but it's also going to bring a hell of a lot to look at cryptocurrency. So right now, you have roughly about 150 to 180 million people in the world that are actively using cryptocurrency. If SBDCs become popular, politicized, and the media catches on with SBDCs, that's going to bring billions of people into the crypto market. And even if we get a billion people and we only get 5% of those people to move over into the DeFi space, that is going to be absolutely massive. And there will be a bull run like nobody's ever seen. So I hate SBDCs. I think that they're evil intentions, but I think it's going to bring a lot of people over to DeFi.
Yeah, and then I got to ask the dumb question. About this I don't even know what that means. So can we clarify what the hell that means?
Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to assume that.
It's essentially like a crypto. Not all of them have claimed it's going to be on the blockchain, but it's a token that the governments can use and distribute to their citizens. And then the problem is they can put controls on them. And the way that they've been talking about it is, hey, guess what? Like, if we ever find out somebody's funding a terrorist, we can freeze everything and they can't spend that money anywhere. And by the way, we can have transparency. We can see where every dollar has ever gone,
Oh,
and this is going to help.
that sounds like the U.S. dollar
But
and debit and credit cards.
yeah, like the Canadian government has been talking about the fact that they want to create a system that allows spending because that's what cash is, anonymous spending. And so they do want to work with that, but most of that is a lie anyways. But what I do think it's going to do is create the people that only trust cash.
Mhm.
It's going to force them to look elsewhere because they're not going to trust a government regulated token that has no tokenomics that they print daily. They're going to realize, like, I never even thought about tokenomics before listening to a Richard Hart and a Forex AMA.
True.
Like until I heard them talk about it, I was like, what do you mean? It's cash. Cash is cash.
Yeah, totally agree. Hey,
Yo, I gotta shout out Scott, the investors here, dude. I love your shit, by the way. You're awesome.
yeah, and I just invited Scott to speak.
Amen to that.
Welcome, Scott.
What's up, guys? How you doing? I was just I don't get on Twitter often, but I was on there posting something. Saw this was going live. I had a few minutes while I was working to listen, so figured I'd tap in and see what you guys are up to.
Hey, Scott. Welcome to the Twitter space.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Doing well.
Hi, Scott.
You guys have been covering a lot of great stuff. I'm with you on all of it. Yeah, the central bank digital currency is what those are. They're piloting one here in the U.S. They've got some going on in overseas. Japan's just launching theirs, but it'll be a good thing as far as like bringing some awareness to the crypto world. It's a bad thing to implement because it allows more control for the governments who never have our best interests at heart, and allows them to look at every transaction and basically use your social credit score like China to turn on and off your money. So right now, if you use your credit card or you use your shopping cart at whatever your grocer is, it kind of tracks your purchases and they give you a small discount or whatever to do that, but it helps them recognize trends and see what you're buying. But if the NSA really wanted to dig into your details, they could see what time you generally shop, what products you like, how much saturated fat you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
They can get all those details. But if you pay cash, obviously that's not there. So right now, if they want to access that information, they got to go to the credit card companies and request it or dig into it illegally. It's just a lot of red tape. But if you allow them to do a central bank digital currency, every dollar spent is fully tracked. And this is their information, not a third party's or some private company in the US. So every single transaction you do at any time, anywhere, any place is tracked. And they can use that to build out a model of exactly what your psychological profile is and how likely you are to revolt and everything. So in concept, it will be very easy and hopefully bring some people into understanding crypto.
Yeah.
But in practice, it's bad.
Two sides of the same coin. It's the good and bad of both, right?
Totally.
Like you do want, like I want accountability from my government. We somehow lose billions of dollars and have no idea where we spent it. And if it was on the blockchain, then anybody can audit it, which would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody has a right to know what I spent my money on or lost my money on. That's supposed to be a personal choice. So it's a double-edged sword. It's one that could actually, like the technology, blockchain technology is incredible. It's going to revolutionize the world. It's that Icarus flying too close to the sun. Maybe, right? Like it has to be implemented with everybody having everybody else's best interests at heart. And I think DeFi is kind of that perfect little model of seeing if that's possible.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with a CBDC, the central bank digital currency, is that it may start out that way, but it's going to turn into an SBDC, which is a social bank digital currency, and that's where they're going to track people. It's going to be just like Scott said. I'm actually like Forex Shark. I have a lot of weapons and ammo. I'm a libertarian. I don't want any government control over my funds or what I spend my money on or where I go for vacation. But with CBDCs, they're going to be able to track every dollar of that. And with the digital world we live in, they're going to push at least half the population that way. And when they have that large of a grasp on what people's social patterns are, they're going to be able to start restricting people whether they know it or not. And it could really lead down a dark path pretty quickly. So, I'm definitely with you on that, Scott.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Black Mirror that's like that.
What's ultimately
You gotta watch it.
it'll be a failed experiment, just like the US dollar is showing to be, right? So eventually people will realize that it's too constrictive. As soon as you try to go somewhere and you realize that you don't have enough carbon credits and the government's able to turn off your debit card and your Tesla and you can't move about the country, you're going to realize that it was a tyrannical move. So I think what it will do though is that once people get into the sphere to where they're understanding how digital currency works and they're like, oh, it's now the new US dollar and people function with
Mm-hmm.
it, then all of a sudden Bitcoin's going to start to make a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
people go, oh, wait a minute, like now there's a limited supply of this currency and the government can't just print into thin air and no one can really track what I'm spending these transactions are. It's completely autonomous. Like that's the direction I want to go. So I think it will be a bridge into the larger crypto sphere and Bitcoin and all these major players in the future. But I think we're going to go through a weird adoption period where the general user is fully on board with helping onboard the tyranny, which is pretty much standard in the U.S. and most other countries.
Yeah. And Evan is still there. Evan is waving his hand. Let me see. Evan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Did you have something to say along those lines?
No, I had a different topic. If I'll say something whenever everyone's done.
No, we're good. And Susie, she's been patiently waiting. Susie,
Oh, hi
Are you-
guys.
how are you?
Hey,
Oh,
Susan.
fantastic. I'm having so much fun and I'm learning a lot.
Good.
And too, I have some things I wanted to say in regard to what is you were talking about the garden. And I reached a milestone today, 20 million.
20 million.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank
Susie. Congratulations.
Nice.
But what I wanted to say is that in a perspective like you were talking about, guys, in a larger view. Sorry, my English is not perfect.
No, we're
I
totally
speak
fine.
Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
This is my second language. So what I wanted to say is I was thinking about a larger view and what a forest is building. I know the garden now is with what Ray did with the billion plants. That is fantastic, and the contract is coming up, and I love it. It's
Yeah,
very good for me.
that's always good
But
because the
the
K
thing
is
is,
down and your LP value is up a
it's
little. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and imagine what is going if that little thing make that change. Imagine what is going to happen when every product is out, or at least the second layer, the new UI and the game garden, the
Mm-hmm.
3D game, but only for the drip for drip to come a little up, plants to come. If plants go to 0.10 cents, we're rich.
Okay, you're saying because
That's
that's much higher than where we're at right now.
yeah, we're in 0.000. We have like 4 zeros.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing to keep
And
in mind, though, Susie, is that the plants will always go down. There's no way they're going to go back up. So it's
Not that
really,
high. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
no,
it's going to.
I don't agree with that, because if you have to think that this is based in drip price, in drip BUSD,
Mm-hmm.
and now that that Ray bought all these plants, is now steady. It's not going down anymore
Mm-hmm.
in these days. Okay, I could be wrong, Mo. Sorry, I'm not arguing with you, but I think that in a sense, the price of the plants, if drip goes up, plants goes up. The decay and the game theory is another thing, but the
Mm-hmm.
plants can go up if drip goes up.
Yep.
So,
That is
Susie, my
And Mo,
understanding
yeah, I'll let
is
you clarify your point, but I think I know where you're headed with it, Mo. Did you want to go? If not, I'll let who's that?
No,
Crypto
let
connoisseur.
Curtis first talk.
Yep.
Yeah, let him
Okay.
talk, and I'll jump in after.
Sure.
okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong
Okay.
here, Mo, but as far as the garden goes, the point of the garden is to compound as much as possible and be a positive player in the game. The best way to be a positive player is to compound a minimum of 5 days, if not more. And with the decay rate, you're always going to have a decay rate on the price of the plants. So the price of the plants are going to go down no matter what you do, but you are going to earn money by the price of drip and the overall LP going up. So if the price of drip goes up back up to say $50, the LP price is going to be fairly high. And even though you're going to be earning less LPs because of the plant price being down, you're still going to be earning those, whatever. Like I'm at 40 million plants. I earn 10.7 plant or LPs per day. Well, if LPs are $50, I could earn $500 a day off of the garden.
That's
So
That's
your
the
plant
secret
price,
sauce. Yes.
yeah, your plant price won't go up. And just so you know, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but the plant price in the garden doesn't mean jack shit. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about
It's
the
only important on the buy. That's
Correct.
the
Yeah.
only value of the plant price is to purchase the plant, right? Because it's
Correct.
designed to kind of level the playing field for everyone to come in after the initial purchase. So
Yep.
it is literally designed to go down. Now, will it ever not go up? No, that's not true. I mean, you can always see a little price appreciation, but if we're at a penny and we're expecting plant prices to go to 40, that's never going to happen. If we're at a penny, we're expecting plant prices to go to $1. That's also a stretch. The value now is in the price of the LP, Susie. Yes.
Okay.
That's where you
So,
want to focus. Yeah, the price of the LP.
And for the price of
yeah.
plants, Susie, just so you know, in order to take the price of the plant where it's currently at with 4 zeros on it, in order to bring it up to 2 zeros, which is just a 2-0 move, that would mean you would have to have a 600x on the price of drip LPs, which won't happen.
And that'll
So,
put us at what, like $2,400?
yeah, we would be well above $2,000 in the
Yeah.
drip. I mean, by the time drip would ever hit $2,000, the price of the plants would have decayed past another 2 to 3 zeros. So, you'll never be past that point. We could possibly lose 1 0, but it would be on the low end, like 3 zeros, 1. But it still doesn't matter. The only two things you really should look at is your overall contract share and the LP that you're producing per day. That's going to be the only important thing. I know a lot of people get tied up with the price of the plants, but you just got to kind of overlook that.
But didn't Forex say we're gonna have $3,000 to $5,000 drip by the end of the year? Is that not still gonna happen?
Yeah.
He didn't say this
I think
year.
that's been
He didn't say this year.
Hot one year. What year?
Yeah,
end of
exactly.
some year.
Oh God, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So Mo, did we cover
Well,
everything
Hey,
that you were going to say? I
one.
want to make sure that we check the boxes.
Yeah. I was gonna say exactly what Crypto
Yeah.
Connoisseur said. You don't really have to. You can't really focus on the plant price because it's continuously designed to go down in value. However, when the contract balance goes up, when the drip price goes up, naturally the LP price is going to go up
Yeah.
as well, and that's what you need to focus on because that's what's going to increase the total amount of money that you have in your garden, which is going to increase the amount of money you can claim, whatever, once per week or once per month or whatever you want to do. That's the real like juice that you want to focus on, or sauce, whatever.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I really appreciate you guys all letting me on here. It is my wife's birthday, so I'm gonna spend a little time with her. But I
It's probably a good idea.
really appreciate you guys
Happy
answering.
birthday.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Happy
Happy birthday.
Well, it ain't my birthday. I'm already old, fat, and stupid. It's her birthday. Hey, it's a pleasure, though. I'll try to get on here whenever you guys are on. I'm a busy guy, but I always try.
Every Wednesday.
I appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you, Crypto
Thank
Connoisseur.
you so
Cheers.
much. Thank you for
You're
tuning
awesome,
in.
my friend. Take care, brother.
Yep, take care.
Hey Mo, can I ask you a question?
Yes, go right ahead. Anytime.
Please, thank you. There was the other day. I don't know if it was in the Mega Live or here, or in some of the videos I saw. You were talking about the on and off fiat ramp.
Yes.
And the impact that is going to have more than the simple thing that it's going to be easy to get in and out.
Yes.
And I was talking to a friend and wanted to explain what you were saying, and I couldn't find because I see it so much, so I wanted to and it's going, and Forex said the other day that it's going to implement a cross chain in an AMP ramp. So I wanted to ask you if you could explain that again for me, if it's not a problem.
So the cross chain part, I'm not 100%
Yeah, I didn't
sure
hear that
which
either.
part that is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he said, from what I remember, he said that the off ramp is going to be either sending the funds directly, like I don't know if it's going to be the pig's price or drip or dogs, probably all three, but that could be sent directly to your bank account. Or another way that he's anticipating doing it is to send it to a to a Visa.
Prepaid debit card.
It is prepaid debit
Mhm.
card, which will
Well,
allow you to take out your money. And I hope I'm not wrong on this, but if I am, please somebody correct me. But you're not paying taxes on the funds that you're taking out as crypto, and it's going to
wow.
be much easier to spend that money, hopefully quickly. Like I'm not sure if it's going to be receiving your money within 24 hours or right away. I'm not 100% sure, but those are two ways that people are going to have at least that confidence that they're putting $1,000 into crypto, but they don't know will they ever see that money again. But this will kind of give them that confidence that they can actually take their money out.
Yeah.
Does that answer your
Mhm.
question, or is there something that I'm missing?
No. The cross chain thing, Forex said in a tweet, in Telegram. He wrote it. I'm going to look for it and send it to
Yeah.
you. But no. What you were explaining the other day is how a lot of people is going to come into the ecosystem because of the easier way.
Yes. Because
That
okay,
that
I see
thing.
what you mean. Okay, I see what you
Yeah.
mean. I feel like it's going to be easier for a lot of people that are in crypto or DeFi, whatever the case might be, when they hear that there's a possibility for them to take their money that they've made in whatever, like in BUSD or whatever they've made on in their other projects. A lot of people, they don't have the capability to easily move their money out of crypto,
Mhm.
and they have to go through KYC and decentralized exchanges and whatnot, or like centralized exchanges. Sorry. So once people hear that there is a possibility to take their money out through the animal farm or through the on and off ramp that is going to be on Drip, then we're going to see an influx of people that are going to be generating a lot of funds from other projects going through our ecosystem to take their money out on their prepaid debit card or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
So it's just going to bring a lot of eyes to the project for those that don't even know what the animal farm or the drip ecosystem is. And that's going to be bullish because once they get involved, then at that point they're going to be more likely to learn more and educate themselves on our ecosystem and perhaps use like a faucet or a garden or whatever.
I totally agree. Hey, Scott, are
Well,
you still there? I
thank
want to
you.
see if Scott, was there anything you wanted to add to that at all?
Yep, I'm still here. I got a couple minutes before I got to
Yeah.
go, but I think you guys are basically on the right track. You got to think about the first time you guys got into any type of crypto or decentralized finance, and if you got in really in DeFi, you've been through the storm of how challenging it is to figure out what platform to go through and onboard your crypto and transfer it from MetaMask and make sure you're all connected and your buddy. It's a huge hassle and it's daunting for most people. The key to adoption, mass adoption, is just the simplicity, just creating a nice flow for someone to learn about something, be able to click a handful of buttons, understand it, watch a short video on it, and then get their money in. And then people also know, because I guess people are hesitant to put money into anything they don't fully understand. They got to know that they could get that money back out once they actually make the money. So the onboarding and the offboarding, I think, is super key for the long term. I don't think the on ramp is going to do a lot for us in the next 90 days. Some people are like, oh, the price is going to spike because of it. I don't think so. I think for the most part, we're still going to trickle in the same amount of wallets that we were going to in the past.
Mhm.
I think scratching layer 2 is really the catalyst that we need. But the off ramp
That's the
will
secret
peak.
sauce. Yeah.
And I'm super interested in is how can I flow this out, because we're all looking right now at FTX and all, crypto.com is looking kind of
Yeah.
shaky. Centralized exchanges, like, I'm really thinking like, what's the best way to get my
Yeah.
money out? And then also the government's always overreaching. So at what point can I find a way to move my money around in the proper manner so I can actually utilize some of the gains, because we're taking all the risk getting into these risky investments. Shouldn't give up a large percentage of our rewards to someone else who had no hand, didn't
Totally agree.
that risk.
Yeah.
And gas fees. You got to think the number of steps that you need to get on and off right now is kind of crazy. Like it could be up to like 6 transactions just to get your money in your
Mhm.
bank. Versus if we're just able to go direct, that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely.
Good stuff. I like it. Susie, did that answer your question?
Yes,
Hey, I
of
love
course.
it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
quite
so much.
welcome.
I would like to say I agree with Scott that I don't think it's going to help us immediately. I think it's going to literally require marketing and YouTubers to pick it up as a way to get in and out easier. I don't think that there's going to be a sudden spike other than maybe the fact that people are excited that something new came in. But I don't think there's going to be like a mad dash where price spikes up, more than 10%. I think it's going to be now we have an easier way to onboard people through marketing and through word of mouth. I think that's to take time, but it's going to make it easier to get that next 100,000 faucets than it was this first 100,000.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I think it just adds legitimacy to the project, right? Like, just that once we get the new eye, I think it's going to change a bunch of things. And of course, that on ramp, off ramp is going to come right around the same time. So when people can easily get into an investment and it looks very professional and they can get out of it, it just adds a whole ton of legitimacy that's frankly not there right now. They come, an old school page, which I have nostalgia for, but it's kind of a shaky looking page as far as finance.
Very early 2000s.
Agreed.
Difficult to get out, and so having just the extra piece of legitimacy is going to bring more people in, and those people will be more confident, and they'll put more money in, and then we'll get some larger investors that want to come in with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Right now, I take some of my really affluent friends to this website, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to wait this out."
Do you think
Yeah.
to the Animal Farm? They go, "Oh, that's the look I'm looking for."
That's a good question. Yeah.
Animal Farm's better. Yeah, Animal Farm's a lot better. I think we still need to do a lot to educate people on how this works. Generally, especially the onboarding to the Animal Farm, I've been critical of the landing page that we have. I just don't think it's going to convert people into actually investing. So if we could get a nice flow there to where because sometimes people don't want you to tell them how to do it. They want to spend an hour on the site themselves poking around so they can, get a good feel for it. And if you don't have really good, like very clean tutorials of like, this is exactly how this works and this is what yield farming is, then I just don't think you're going to get the adoption that you want right now. And so there's no sense in actually marketing directly to the page because it doesn't tell people how to invest.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Scott, because we tend to try to wrap up 90 minutes. And I want to ask you this one general question that we tend to ask a lot of people. For someone that's starting relatively new in cryptocurrency and they happen to be in DeFi and they had maybe $1,000, would your strategy change in terms of where you would actually suggest that they invest $1,000? Like historically, it's been the faucet. So I'm wondering if your thoughts have changed on how you would invest $1,000.
My thoughts really haven't changed. I actually did a video specifically on this. If you had $1,000, if I was starting over with $1,000, where would I put it? And my thoughts are about the same. I mean, right now, but it just depends. Like, what's your appetite for risk with that $1,000? Like, did you save it all year and you're just like, I can't lose this? What's a nice safe play? And in that case, I may say, hey, pigs are a good choice, or buy cake and stake it, or something like that, right on the Animal Farm. If it's, hey, are you willing to lose this money and take some additional risk for greater returns? If that person says yes, this is truly risk capital, then it would be faucet. And with $1,000, it would be all faucet, especially when you're going to get 700 drip or something like that. You put it in, you can compound, and you can get a pretty decent stake for that. I in the first month that I got in, I put 10 grand in, and it's taken me a long time to build up to what I have now. And so if someone coming in with $1,000 can get a pretty good position, and the downside is just so low in the faucet. Like, okay, at $1.50 a token, your range is between $1.50 and $0. Like, that's as far as you can drop. So your the risk reward ratio is just what you got to look at. So assuming someone is like, this is truly risk capital, I would put 100% of that into the faucet and build up my position there. Then I would have them branch out and consider the garden, and then work their way into the Animal Farm and start understanding different parts of the ecosystem.
Got it. That's good stuff. Okay, got it. Scott, how much time do you have? Because I've got a couple other speakers that just joined. How much time do you have? I don't want to take up your time, but I definitely wanted to maximize your time while you were here.
For sure. I got time for like one more question. If there's anything hot on your mind.
Sounds good. I want to see if any of the speakers that are on, if they had a question they wanted to bounce off of Scott.
My question is, do you think that there's going to be a focused enough marketing around scratchies that it will translate into people going into the faucet? Like, I know we're actually going to get a budget for marketing around each scratchies project that's going to be built in or baked in with the dev fees. But I'm wondering, is it just going to be a bunch of people just playing the game, or do you think that will actually flow
over? So I think you'll get a percentage that do flow over. I think so. First off, I mean, the marketing campaign, I've been critical of marketing. You guys have seen my videos. I'm still going to be critical of marketing until I think we're doing a good job at it, and we're unfortunately, I don't see across the board. We're definitely not doing really any marketing for drip, and animal farm marketing has been very little. Of course, got some AMAs and stuff, which is awesome, and a news article here and there, but that's not really going to bring in the adoption that we need. And it's going to be impossible for us to market some of the places that we think we're going to try to market. Like you can't be an anonymous person and get quoted in some of these articles. They just can't do it. They're not allowed to.
I
Right?
understand
They have
now.
to
Yeah,
prove
yeah,
who you
yeah.
are. Yeah.
Hmm.
So in a lot of cases, when you're talking about marketing, specifically with like PR and press releases and stuff, they have to be able to confirm their data, and if they can't confirm who you are, it's not going to happen. So I know Forex wants to go big on some of these marketing efforts as far as PR goes. Some of the things he wants to do just isn't possible, just based on the fact that he's
Got it.
anonymous. So you've got that aspect to it, and then of course we just need to get better in the whole marketing effort in general, and specifically running some paid ads to a landing page that converts and gets people into
Hmm.
it. So I think those are steps that we need to do soon. And if we have marketing budget, we should have already been doing it, or we should be doing it now. As far as Scratchy, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to be marketing. We need to be marketing people directly to some sort of Scratchy tutorial that explains it, which will be way easier than any, Animal Farm, because you buy the ticket, you scratch it, and you win. But something like that would drive them to understand how to do it. People would purchase with BNB, and then of course a portion of that, especially the stuff that's bought on that are drip tickets, is going to go back to the tax vault. So that will help. So I think, to answer your question in a roundabout way, I think it will make an impact into people adding additional wallets to the faucet. I still think there's a lot of people that have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for something to actually happen. Scratchy was supposed to be out originally in like May or June, like when he first referenced it. Then it was July. Now it's looking like maybe January, and it could be February. So I think when things start happening and dominoes start falling into place, a lot of people that have been sitting on the sidelines are going to go, "Oh, it's happening now, right?"
Yeah.
So that's going to bring people in, and I think the biggest factor for the price, I think drip price would be $25 right now had we already launched Scratchy in the fall, like we said we were going to, and we're just about to launch layer 2 and all that type of stuff. I think you go long periods of time where nothing happens, and then you stab it in the heart with a bear market, then people are just, they don't believe anything. All of a sudden it's a risk off environment. People are pulling their money and, trying to make ends meet. So I think the delays put us where we're at, and it's going to take a few deadlines to be met. Scratchy, layer 2, some of this other stuff that's coming out to give people enough hype to let them realize that this is recession proof.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you this, Scott, just to follow up on that one point with Forex Shark still being anonymous. Do you think that we could still have PR reps that do the same thing? Would that still satisfy consumers, investors, if it's not the developer themselves?
Yeah, you can have. So what Forex needs to do, and this is typical of I like really smart, intelligent people, is they generally don't like to release the reins. So what Forex has to do is build out his team. He needs a real chief marketing officer, a real CFO, or probably more an operations person. So he can be the visionary and he can help pull the strings, but they are doing their part. He has to spread the work out, because if he doesn't release some of that work off his plate, A, he can't focus on the things he's really good at. B, you can't scale. It's like building a business that now has 150,000 people that are involved in it, and you still think that you can get by with just wearing all the hats. It's not going to happen. So he's got to build out his team, and so if he does, and he gets say like a chief operating officer that really is a partner and a player, that person can get doxed. People will see it just like any other company. You don't care if the CEO is the one talking or the chief operating officer. All you care is about there's a message that's crafted that's the same, in all areas, so that that narrative is the same. So nobody's going to care whether it's Forex directly or someone else being quoted in a press article about the project. They're going to look at the project as a company as a whole, and they're going to look at them as just one of the leadership group. So Forex has to he's got to realize that you got to outgrow what you've done in the past, and he needs to find a way to trust somebody enough to build a team to get a couple larger pillars in there, guys who really know what they're doing in the business world, as far as marketing and then operations. If he can do that, then the ecosystem will boom, because you're going to have more eyes and more intelligent people actually playing. But he's got to release the reins a little bit, which is tough to do as a leader.
Yeah, especially with this personality.
Like he's starting to do so. Like in the last few months, he's starting to give a bit of more control to some other people in his projects, which is good to see. But at the same time, would like to see it continue that way with the same kind of group, and not, change every now and then, and every time change a new marketing company or whatever. So to your point, as long as the public has a representative of the company, it's going to change the view of every person in the community towards that company versus not having a clear image of who is running the whole thing in the background.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another point that's interesting is when people think about Forex projects, they think about a single developer who's really doing of course BB and everything was there, but Forex kind of hides everyone behind him. So it's really sometimes hard to tell how many players are really involved. But he's got when you listen to him on the AMAs, he's got a project manager, and he's got other people doing other things. We should see more of that team out in the open to realize it's a company, like a full. So from a marketing,
I wrote that as a question in asking if we'll ever get to hear from the project manager
or the marketing team for that matter. Yeah, why don't they come out and tell us about what they've got going on? Yeah.
And the thing, Forrest doesn't want to release the reins, but I think he's missing the point where he would come on, and he's not going to fall back as the face. He's going to come on and say, hey, here's all some exciting things going, and let me turn it over to X, who is going to tell you about the marketing efforts that we just did.
Excellent point.
And they can come on and say, listen, we killed it with marketing. Here's how many users we onboarded. Spent about $50,000 on these type of campaigns last month. We got a pretty robust plan for next month. That's the end of my report. And Forex says, thank you, and then moves on to the next piece. So like you would do with a company, or like a standard quarterly business review you do in any real professional environment. You bring your other players on because they're the expert in that category. You can't be an expert in all categories, and so trying to do that is you're going to fail when it gets big enough, like right now.
And what about the argument that
two totally separate teams? Because what I want to see now that we're separating the two more and more is that our roadmaps start to be clearly defined as different. And so the timelines, we don't have to wait to release something for Drip because something is being released or a partner is being released or partner pool is being put in for Animal Farm. It would be nice if we're going to separate them, let's have them fully separate. He can still be the head. You can still be the CEO of two companies or the spokesman for two.
They're just divisions. It's not like not like the Mars company or whatever who makes Snickers and Twix, or like can only focus on one thing at a time. They're going to release both products at the same time, and that's really what should be happening. And the biggest issue is Forex should have started building his team 6 months before he did. He needed a real project manager right away to get his developers all on the same page and outline real timelines. And he didn't have that, and he needed to implement that earlier, because otherwise people are telling him it's done, but you don't have anyone really checking the work and putting the pieces together and giving valid timelines. And that's why we blew so many timelines over and over. So it's like
top down instead of bottom up.
Yeah, it probably is. And there should be a meeting between the two, right? There should be an objective from the top, and it should be a bottoms up approach, and there should be a meeting of the mind somewhere in the middle to align. Let me ask you guys this, because again, we're thinking very reasonable on how we're approaching how things should be run. Have you guys heard the argument from other folks that are in DeFi that are saying we're missing the point, that we shouldn't be this structured, that there should be a little bit of ambiguity involved in kind of running a business? Are we overthinking it? And are we not playing by the rules of DeFi?
I'm not saying that the rules need to be the same as traditional business, but there's still basic rules for functioning. And I don't think most geniuses fall within that nice little box.
Yeah.
But the world understands that box. And so you have to play a little bit into it and still have the fact that it's not traditional. Like there's a happy medium somewhere. And the whole point of this past year and a half is to find what that medium is. That's why we've seen so many, even projects that didn't rug have failed, because they didn't find that medium yet. And they didn't have a community to back them up while they figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to focus on here is it's not what people really think DeFi should be. It's who's the customer. Do you want to onboard new users? Then you need to go find the new customer. And that customer is not the DeFi degen who's afraid to put in their email into a landing page. The general customer is someone who's just started in crypto last couple of years. They've been buying some Bitcoin. They've got a Coinbase or a crypto.com account, and now they're looking to branch out because they realize how messed up the system designed, and so they're looking for DeFi. Those people are the people we're trying to bridge over. So every single project is centralized until it becomes immutable. So Bitcoin was centralized. Whoever created it, or whatever team created that, they all worked together and had full control over it until they made that contract immutable. And basically, we're in the same scenario here. Like everything right now that Forex is doing is centralized. And then once he releases it, he makes the contracts immutable, and then it becomes DeFi. So there's no way around there's no way around centralization when you're setting something up. People
Mm-hmm.
have to build things and they have to work together to build things, and you got to bring normal users on. The real point of DeFi isn't that everything is anonymous. It is that the contracts are clean and immutable and open source, and everybody can see. So there's no tomfoolery going on in the background. There's no ways to game the system. There's no people that are benefiting more than the others who didn't know about it, because the contract tells you exactly what's going to happen. So it is always centralized until the contract becomes immutable. So the people who are saying, this is C5, this is DeFi, like everything's centralized until it's not.
I love it. No, I'm good. I am good. I love it. This is a great conversation. Scott, man, I really appreciate you dropping in. Totally unexpected, but a pleasant surprise. Your insight is always welcome, my friend.
Yeah,
all right, so here's what
you.
I'm thinking.
Appreciate it.
Of course, Scott. No problem, my friend. Speakers, was there any other party remarks, insights you guys wanted to share with the listeners that are still queued in?
Hopefully everybody tunes in on Saturday for the Mega Live.
Hey.
Yes,
Yay.
Scott, if you ever want to get on a Mega Live, man, I know you're busy on the weekends that I've been asking you a couple times, but if you're free, let me know. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or even on Telegram, man, and we'll get you on, man. You are on the list, my
Sounds
friend.
good, man. I will definitely join. Weekends are tough because I work 80 hours a week, and so when I'm not working, I'm like trying to hang out with the kid and the family. But there will be a time where I can jump on. I'm not avoiding you guys. I'm just telling you.
Right on, Scott.
All good, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you so much.
LD, thanks for joining us, brother.
Special
Sweet.
shout out to LD too. He's spreading the love all day.
Been spreading the love all day, man. Gotta be, helping out my friends, helping out all the content creators, and just the community, right? So,
And can you tell them what you were celebrating?
my 2K, I finally got to
Yay.
thanks, guys. 2,000 subscribers today. So, what I did was I went on and I said, I'm gonna give away 20 drip. However, you're gonna have to go over and put a little LD sent me on all my friends' videos, and I'll let them decide who gets the drip. So I'm doing 4 drip giveaways to people who help out my buddies.
And they listen.
Thank
They
you, LD. That's
came
amazing.
in droves.
It's like getting so many comments. LD sent me. I'm like, what's going on? It's just hilarious.
It was so awesome. It really was. It was just so awesome. One, it was totally unexpected because I hadn't seen the video at the time. They're like, LD sent me. What are you talking about? What sent you to do what?
Yeah, man. I didn't want to let anyone of you guys know. I wanted it to be completely secret, so you guys were like, "What in the heck is going on?" I'm getting LD sent.
Legitimately had no idea. I didn't even look at my phone the whole day.
Oh my god, it was hilarious. And you know what, LD? Like what I realized from watching your videos over the last few weeks, like not only do you release videos consistently, and it's one of those things where like people look up to you, but your videos are so creative. Not only are the titles and thumbnails creative, but your ideas and the way that you come up with your storylines, they just keep everybody engaged, and you want to hear what's going to happen next. Just like
Totally.
today when you talked about the gas fees, just spinning it and make everybody understand that you're going to hide you for free. It just takes it to a whole nother level. So that's just it's to see come out every single time. It's just good to see.
Thanks,
Totally
man.
agree,
Thanks.
man.
I
This
definitely
is
got
good.
my first major hater today, so that was fun.
Only one?
Your first.
Well,
Only one. You're doing really good.
I mean, major hater. I get always like the fudders who come on and say drip's going to zero and all that, but this is a major hater. So you've made it when you get a major hater telling you that you're copying everyone's videos.
What do you mean?
Really?
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, the comment was like, "Hey, man, come up with some original content." And I said, "Hey, did you watch the video?" Because I literally cited the guy who told me about it, and he asked me to do it because his channel didn't get, the views that this material deserved. And I was like, "Yeah, man, sure, I'll do it." Right, and then I even showed him in the video, but some guy must have watched literally the first 5 minutes of the video, and then decided
that's not good.
I was copying someone's material.
5 minutes.
Newsflash, some of the
Longer than
content
every
is
video
going to
I've
be the
ever
same. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some of the subject content's going to be the same, right? Hydrating strategies, but they're going to be different because, again, we've talked about this before. It's your personality, your perspective, and there's always going to be a slight twist to it. But everyone's interested in, maxing out a wallet and hydrating and compounding and multiple wallets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And
But then you're unique with all your other stuff, though, too.
The
people
free plan
find
B is
comfort
something
in
that is
finding people
extremely
that are similar
important,
to them.
right? because it's some like it's not exactly free BNB because obviously you're gonna have to put in BNB, but it's
Yeah.
also it's free BNB after a certain amount of time, right? Because once you've gotten back all of the BNB that you put in, you can use that BNB for all of your hydrates, all of your claims, and everything. And it's really, really good because it supports the reservoir. And as we all know, the reservoir really helps the floor price of drip. So, like, I'm sure you guys knew what happened when Cloud Money took
Yes.
out their BNB from the reservoir, and it went from $7 down to $1.40.
Yeah.
Right,
Right away.
right away. So if that doesn't tell you that the floor price is held up by the reservoir, then I don't know what will. But that
But
was major because they took out something like, what was it, 600 BNB or something like that.
yeah, I think it was 600 to 800 BNB. But it's like what people need to understand is that the BNB that's being put in is adding liquidity
Exactly.
to the whole contract, which pushes the price upwards, right? So if it's not putting in buying pressure, it's at least sustaining a price
Yeah.
consistently as long as the liquidity is still there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the more people we have putting in money, the more the price is going up. But if nobody puts in money, but everybody leaves their money in there, the price is going to stay consistent as long as over time there's not more and more cells like draining the price overall. But it's very clear that when 800 BNB came out, the price collapsed right away. But the good news is they're going to put their money back in on
Mm-hmm.
a slow basis.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if how many people we have in the faucet, if every single one of those people, I know it's really difficult right now because the price of drip is so like cheap and so juicy. But if every single one of those people, let's not even say every one of them, let's say 1,000 of those people, right, were to put in one BNB into the reservoir, that would take us back to where it was before Cloud Money took out their 6 to 7 or whatever 100 BNB they took out, right? So that right there would put us back to around $7 floor, right? This
And
Yeah.
1,000 people is not a lot when we have 80
exactly,
to 90,000 people potentially. Yeah, we're
exactly.
only talking about 10%. I
I think
agree.
it's 80 to 90,000 people. I've been thinking about this a lot. I think that the
Yeah.
true number of individuals has got to be closer to 50,000.
You think so? Because I know the total number of wallets is like 128,000. So
How many
you think
wallets do you have?
it's about 128?
Yeah, but a lot of people have 4, 5, 6 wallets. That's the problem.
Yeah,
And that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. It's
Yeah,
obviously not 128. We all know that. I was
Yeah.
thinking closer like maybe 80,000,
I think it's less. I do.
Okay.
I think it would be. I don't think it's ever going to be possible to find out what it is,
Yeah.
which is kind of the interesting part. But I think there's sometimes there's shocking where somebody will be like, "I got 20 wallets." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. But hey, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter at the end of the day because all those people are compounding and they're dollar cost averaging into their faucet. So as
Right.
long as they're keeping their money in there, we're fine. As long as they don't claim 10 different wallets at the same time, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
The more
Yeah,
interesting part is how far has it spread is the way that I'm thinking of it, not necessarily the funds in, because you're right, it doesn't truly matter for that part. But it would be interesting to find out how far this DeFi project has reached and touched people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be interesting.
And this
Oh,
was a
well.
great live, guys. I don't
I
know
think
about you guys,
so.
but
Fantastic.
having all these guys come on and just share their opinions, and the listeners today that jumped on and gave their different strategies and approaches, this was a very pleasant 2 hours. Was it 3 hours? Man, I
Yeah,
love it.
we're tapping on 2 hours. Mm-hmm.
Best part about the spaces is that randoms can jump in freely, right? That's
Yeah. And it was good. I mean, because we
power.
got like a huge random with Scott the investor sliding in there. That was sweet, man.
Boom.
You know what I mean? That was fantastic. No, this is good. And then how about crypto connoisseur? I mean, with his
Oh yeah, drip.
multiple wallets, the maxing out wallet strategy. Now I'm curious on if
I
it
have
works.
heard of a similar strategy.
Yeah.
About it
I
myself,
think
but haven't.
I think it's a very similar strategy, if not the same, that LD has as well.
Okay. Yeah. So it's time to play around with it, man. So that's the whole
Yeah, I'm
point,
gonna
right?
have to listen to that again because I missed that part. What was?
Yeah. Listen to it later, and you'll understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Totally.
You're putting this up on YouTube, right?
Totally. Yep. It's
Yeah.
recorded, and I'll put it on there later tonight, if not first thing in the morning, because it takes a while to kind of upload.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I do prefer re-listening over YouTube over the Twitter Spaces, and I think you said that it expires, right?
It does after 30 days.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Good thing
man.
we got it on YouTube then.
Hey, I love this group, man. I appreciate everyone's support. Listeners, you guys are rock star, and the speakers
Cool.
happen. Everyone, I want you guys to have a great evening. In the meantime, I wish you all peace and prosperity. Until then, everyone, stay hydrated.
See you guys. Thank
We
you.
Thank you,
are
guys.
out of here.
Bye,
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good
guys.
one.
Thank you.
See ya.
All righty.
Bye, Susie.
Susie,
Bye.
take care, everyone.
See you
Lene,
guys.
I
Thank
see
you.
ya.
We see you, Lene.
We see ya.
See you guys.
Lavelle, take care. Is it the ninja? See you, brother.
West Sideans here too.
Crypto
Yeah.
Bag Travis, I see ya. Who else we got?
West Side Ian's got to be the greatest supporter. Him and Tug Nugs for me have been like every video. There's a little love spread.
I'm pretty
I
sure that's
agree.
Ali G that he's got as his picture there. Ali
Is
G in
it?
the house.
Birdie Monkey, I see ya. All right, who else we got on here? And you know I'm picking the ones that I can pronounce.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Oh, God, I love it. All right, you guys, you're the best. I'll talk to you guys
Sure.
soon. All right, take
See
care,
ya.
everyone.
Thank you.
All
Bye
right.
bye. Take care.
Bye-bye now.